they're called the Kurdistan Freedom Falcons, TAK, T-A-K in Turkish. They're essentially an offshoot, an even more hardline offshoot of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, the PKK. But for all intents and purposes, many Turks and the government will see this, they won't see any difference between TAK and the PKK. They believe that these two attacks, these two back-to-back blasts within 45 seconds of each other were conducted by the PKK. They won't make that differentiation. So that claim of responsibility that came just in the last little while won't come as a surprise to people here, nor to the government, who, officials very early this morning in interviews, media interviews, were saying that all the arrows point to the PKK, that these attacks have the hallmarks of that. The PKK is a banned group here. It's called a terror group by Turkey as well as the U.S. and other countries. And since the 1980s, more than 40,000 people have died in attacks such as this one, and then retaliation for attacks like that. So there are deep wounds here in the fight between Turkey and the Kurds on both sides, and this is yet another cut.
Okay. You were back on the scene today. What was it like?
Mm-hmm. It was really interesting, Carol, really emotional, different from what we saw last night, all the ambulances, racing by, the heavy police presence. This time it was hundreds and hundreds of people, and we should have some pictures for you to see that we captured at the scene today. Hundreds and hundreds of people waving flags, wrapping themselves in the Turkish flag, going to the scene of where specifically one of the blasts happened, where the vehicle bomb, the car bomb, exploded. Turkish officials say that car was loaded with 300 to 400 kilos of explosives. So it left a crater. There was nothing left of the car. That was quickly filled this morning. The street signs were repaired. The roads reopened. So people were walking to that site, laying carnations as well on police vehicles there, reading from the Quran, trying to express solidarity, a collective fight against terror. So that was really the sentiment there. A lot of sadness, people who didn't even necessarily know the victims. There were tears there because you mentioned that mostly police were killed, and this really young police officers in their early 20s, some in their early 40s as well, slightly more senior officers. But also there were civilian victims as well, Carol, and a lot of people are so saddened by that too. One of them was a 21-year-old student from another part of Turkey who had just come for the weekend to blow off steam after finishing his exams. So he was just in a taxi, apparently, when the bomb blast happened. So there's a lot of emotion here today. This has been a difficult year in Turkey.